over an hour now, and they will start Super Bowl 51, and there have been so many great gaming stories through the years. I want to take you to the Super Contest. Art Manteris, when he was the head bookmaker at the Hilton, he started this. You pick 5 games every week against the spread, and the spreads come out on Wednesday, only 5, and they keep score of these fellas. And Jay Carnegie continues, and the Hilton, of course, was sold. It's now the Westgate. But the story that just intrigued me so much is about a man from downstate Illinois. Mark Jorstad was the runner-up. He's on the phone with us right now. And Mark, because we're on Sirius XM, and you were talking about you had to harvest, you didn't have a chance to watch the games, and I was so intrigued by your story. Tell me how you wound up being so successful in the Super Contest this year.
Hey, Brent. Hey, congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you.
That might be the shortest retirement in history.
Could have been.
I'll tell you, as you know, coming from Chicago, about an hour out of there, out on the farm, you don't have a TV in the combine or the tractors, but we got the XM radios and dial it around, listen to the shows, and get to catch up on the games, and that's kind of our information source, you know, from September until about Thanksgiving, and when we get done then get in the house a little bit more and be able to actually watch some games. But so it's been a real plus for us to be able to have the XM radios out there to kind of stay in tune with what's going on, not only football but basketball, you know, the whole thing.
Mark, what was your percentage?
I had 54.5 points out of the 85. And the gentleman that won had 55.5.
Wow.
And
close.
we both were just under that 66% because they had a $20,000 bonus if you could hit 66% too. So it was kind of like getting hit by lightning. You know, it takes a little bit of luck on a 17-week run like that.
Mark, how big was the check?
Was $358,000 of change, and I will say that Jay over there at the Westgate, he treated us like royalty too. I mean, I brought both my boys, Chip and Keith, with, and a couple friends. We spent a weekend out there, and they really rolled out the red carpet, and we really enjoyed it.
Mark,
so it was just one heck of an experience.
Did you buy a new tractor, Mark?
I didn't. It's funny you asked that, though. I had a reporter ask me when I was out in Vegas. He said, "You going to buy 2-3 new tractors with that?" And I chuckled a little bit, and I said, "Well, it will buy one new tractor if it's not a big one." And he just kind of rolled his eyes.
Are you playing next year?
Oh, without a doubt. That was the 4th year that I've been in it. And the first year I was in it, I tied for 11th or 12th. Never placed the next 2 years, and then this year. I suppose the smart money would be stay home, but, you know, not going to do that. It's enjoyable. You know, for a $1,500 entry fee, and you get 17 weeks of picking teams out of it, it's really, where else in America can you put that down and have a chance to win $1 million? It's awesome.
Mark, next time you visit Vegas, you come down here to the South Point, okay? I'm gonna take you out to dinner, the best restaurant in this town, Michael's Steakhouse, and then I'm gonna ask you if I can buy a piece of your action.
Well, I will definitely take you up on the dinner, and the action will be cheap, Brent, because as you know, at being a farmer and not a professional, you kind of get what you pay for.
Mark, I absolutely love your story. And thanks so much. Now, let me ask you this. Falcons are a 3-point underdog. Who are you going with today?
I'm going Patriots. You can't go against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. If this was a regular season game, I'm all over them. And, you know, got a 50-50 chance, Brent.
Are you going to watch the game, or are you going to go out in your tractor and listen to it on XM radio?
Oh no, we've been listening to your show today, and we're down in Florida on vacation. But we're gonna find a little steakhouse with a bar and a nice big TV, and we're gonna watch the game, my wife and I, tonight.
Awesome. You bring your wife, and we'll see you out here at South Point this summer, my friend. It's a great story. Thanks,
awesome.
Mark.
And again, Congratulations, Brent. Awesome.
Thank you so much. And hey, guys, Vinny, I love that story.
Well, something tells me that he's going to have the first combine with a TV. I can't imagine he's not going to have that edition. But I have to tell you, as Jimmy indicated, it's a great contest that they have over there when Art started. Actually, Jimmy knows this as well. His cousin, Jim Mastriani, actually was working as a supervisor. He was the manager at the time, and he named the contest. So, but it's a terrific contest, and it's challenging. And as it gets further into the season, I was partners with a couple of our colleagues, Nicky Bogdanovich and Rich Bachelari, a few years ago. We finished ninth, and we were right there. And that last week, we didn't want to settle for a tie. We went for it. We rolled the dice pretty good, but it's a terrific contest.
I want to welcome in, sitting down at the end next to Vinny, Jimmy, another good longtime friend of mine. You know, before he was the leading Page 3 gossip columnist in the Review Journal, and we always had to read to see who was arrested the night before. Norm Clark was a sports writer, and a really good one in Billings, Montana, the Billings Gazette. And I befriended my friend. They'd talk on the phone, and then Norm goes off to bigger and greater things down in Cincinnati with the AP, and then out here with the Review Journal. Welcome, Norm. It's great to have you as part of the VSiN family.
To be here, I appreciate the invite. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, as you bounce around town, because that's what you feature, did you find a lot of interest in this year's Super Bowl, Norm? Have you talked to people that are fired up?
You know, I went to one of those outdoor double-tiered restaurants on Friday night, and the guys said that they've been sold out for months. It's like a beer garden, and I think the Hofbrauhaus, which is massive, I think they're getting a huge crowd. It's like the World Cup over there.
I love the Hofbrauhaus.
I do too.
Those guys bring those big mugs out. I'm telling you, Jimmy, it's one of the great places. You've seen the interest in Super Bowls grow in this town year after year.
Yes, I have, and it's a privilege to be a part of them, and I say it with all sincerity. You know, I was just a youngster bouncing around, and I landed out here in 1975, and it's been nothing but gracious towards me, and the places to eat, the places to be, and always giving credit to the people who deserve it. Going back to the Hilton contest with Art Manteris, who started in '87, who was a Pittsburgh guy, matter of fact.
I noticed a lot of Pittsburgh guys out.
And then we go from there, then obviously just growing up with Michael Gone and going, I've been so fortunate. Worked for Michael, worked for Kirk Recorder, and worked for Steve Wynn, and now I'm back working for Michael, so it's been a pretty good ride. I'm very humbled by where I'm at.
And you know, Norm, I knew his brother first, and Sonny Vaccaro actually deserves all the credit in the world for taking Michael Jordan under the Nike umbrella. There was no doubt that's how. And you have seen Michael come through this town on many a night, lad.
Yeah, the Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Tiger Woods trio was. We were on high alert when they were in town.
Had to work a little overtime, did you, Norm, at that time?
We certainly did. You know, I go back to what I've said for years. For 500, you'll get in my column. 5,000 will keep you out. So behave.
Good line, Jimmy.
You know, it's been a pleasure, obviously, with my great older brother, just being associated with some of these people, and got very close to Michael Jordan. Because the first trip out here after he signed with Nike, and I was like the overseer when they would come to town. Michael infatuated by the gambling. That I can tell you. Not that he jumped in immediately, but like it was always, Jimmy, what about that? What are they playing? What's this? And got very close with his father also, who had a tragic ending. So a lot of good people. His first wife had a lot of obviously good things to say about it. But like anything else, when I introduced Michael Jordan to Steve Wynn, then Michael didn't need me anymore. He had Steve Wynn.
You know, it's an interesting story about Michael, because when he went to play minor league baseball that one year, there was always the underground rumor that the commissioner had suspended him for a year for gambling on sports. We've all heard it, right? So I would talk to David Stern about it, because we would present the trophy. He said, do you really think I could hide something like suspending Michael Jordan? Do you really think that I'm good? I was always amused by that, because you know, as we know, great athletes have enormous egos. They have to have, and Michael did. And my hat was always off it was Sports Illustrated ran a derogatory cover about him playing baseball. I doubt that Michael's even spoken to him since, but my hat was always off to him trying something like that. He was the greatest. Vinny, he was the greatest single. You love basketball, and you played it a lot. He was the single greatest force in basketball that I'd watched.
No question, but it's just such a competitor, and I think that whatever he did privately, it certainly was his business, whether it was cards or golf or whatever. So, but he transcended not just basketball, but all sports. Really, when you think about it, he was iconic, and even when he went to baseball, the interest that was there. Whenever he was out here at Shadow Creek playing golf, he drew quite a gallery. And so I think you measure certainly an athlete by what they do in their particular sport. But to me, my hat's off to him because and it didn't matter how he felt. Remember that game 7 up in Utah, where it basically had to hold him up for the end of that game. And when you have a competitor like that, that's somebody that you want going for you too. I can tell you that.
And Norm, with all your covering of baseball, I know you took me over and we visited another old friend in this city, and that was Pete Rose the other day. I always, a quick story, Norm, for you. He was on our NFL Today show as a guest because we were coming into the baseball playoffs, and I think it was probably the Phillies at the time, and they weren't in it. So we would bring up just to talk a little baseball, guys. Well, Jimmy the Greek came down with a flu and couldn't make it. And Pete said, "I'll pick the games for you." So I thought, well, okay, let's do it. So we put Pete up by that. Remember that checkboard that the Greek used to have, and offense, defense, whatever. He picked almost every winner that day. So the next week, the Greek was still with him back. He was one of the best handicappers that I had up there, Norm, all the time. I mean, and I know how well you know Pete from covering him the baseball days in Cincinnati.
Pete could multitask, no question about that. He kept up. He was really good with the stats and the numbers.
Yeah, he was. Loved to bet horses too. I've always said, and I don't know, Vinny, I don't know how you feel about this, but I always said that Pete should be in the Hall of Fame, and the last sentence should say he was suspended in whatever the particular year was for gambling on baseball. I always thought, don't ignore history. But we can't ignore the 7,000-some hits that he had, too.
You can't take away what he did on the field and the way he did it, really. It was quite a signature. I mean, Charlie Hustle, can't beat it.
Erase the bottom part, as far as I'm concerned.
There you go.
He deserved to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no question. I don't think that one erases the other. So, no, I haven't asked you, I've asked all my buddies here. Do you have a feel about the game today?
Well, I picked Atlanta 31-30, and then I come in and hear that Mac has got a broken leg or something. Right? That's my luck. Luckily, I didn't put anything on it, so I'm the only person in here that probably hasn't laid a bet this year.
Well, let's update the story in case some of you who have just joined us, and it was the latest breaking story of the day. Mack is the outstanding center for the Atlanta Falcons, and when the injury report came out that I read this morning, actually, the Review-Journal, it was an ankle injury. But when I got here, Adam Schefter, the reporter for ESPN, who does such a great job, is reporting that there's a broken bone in the fibula. He already had a plate in that particular leg, so they don't know how mobile he's going to be or how long he's been able to go. And Darrell Reed pointed out that Ben Garland from the Air Force Academy is a pretty big fellow who played the defensive line, offensive line, and if the Falcons need him today. But I guess gamblers like Norm and me, recreational types, we seize on information like this and probably go the other way, and we wind up losing. But anyway, we'll stay right here, fellas. We're going to be right back here, listening live to the Vegas Stats and Information